10 en comunicació o 10 en comunicación es un ciclo de conferencias que celebramos una vez al mes aquí en el Colegio de Periodistas y lo organizamos la Fundación ASCAC para poner en la agenda de los periodistas y de los diferentes agentes del sector una serie de temas que creemos que deberían figurar pues, en su lista de prioridades. Esto lo celebramos por primera vez el año pasado y en ese momento hicimos unas presentaciones generales sobre temas como integración de redacciones, periodismo online, sobre periodismo ciudadano, diferentes implicaciones de los microformatos, etcétera. Y esta vez lo que queremos hacer es entrar más en el detalle y, si acaso, profundizar en lo que serían contenidos que sean de utilidad práctica para los periodistas.
I think, the internet and the various tools on the internet can be extremely powerful for journalists on a number of levels. First of all, it gives you access to a much wider range of potential sources and leads of news. So rather than relying on the traditional avenues of news that you might have done in the past, you have access to all kinds of new groups of people with real expertise that you wouldn't otherwise know about, people with personal experience of issues and problems that can really bring a story to life. So one of the first advantages of the internet is it gives you that enormous access and breadth of access to different voices. The other part of the internet is that it also works the other way, in that it allows you to connect and engage with people in completely different ways. So whereas in print and broadcast, traditionally you would produce a story and you hit the deadline and then you move on and you don't know whether anyone read that story or whether it made any impact. With the internet, you get feedback now, so even if it is a print story or a broadcast story, you're still getting feedback through perhaps your blog or your Twitter account or Facebook, or even things that people are doing outside of your own sphere. So they might be setting up Facebook groups as a result of what you've written, and they're passing on what you've written, so you can see how that's spreading across the internet. So the ability to engage with people and for people to pass on information, I think is really powerful and inspiring sometimes, and quite humbling as well.
Tenemos 10 sesiones preparadas y entonces en todas ellas pues, vamos a abordar temas como las fuentes de información, cómo sacarles partido, la participación del lector o la integración del lector en los procesos productivos, etc.
Basically, what I'm saying today is I'm talking about 3 sources of information which I think have become really important in the networked age of the internet. And those sources are social networks, RSS feeds, which is a way of information travelling between sites, and data. And basically, if you look at the history of journalism, journalists have always had to adapt to new types of information. So they might have done eyewitness accounts at one point, and then you had court reports, and you had the increase of government and official documents. You had the increase of science and those kinds of reports, and health and medicine. And then you had press releases and journalists having to deal with press releases. And so now you've got new sources of information again, and journalists are having to deal with social networks, different ways of connecting with people, finding information, but also working with people, because it's not necessarily an activity that you just do in your newsroom with other journalists. It might be more collaborative with people who are involved in particular activities or have particular expertise. And data has enormous possibilities. The processing power of computers opens up enormous possibilities for us to interrogate information, to interrogate the claims of the powerful, to see the truth behind what is claimed. And in effect, there's an opening up of data and information, not just to journalists but to everyone, to citizens. And I think it's really important that journalists use that material and also have the ability to question it, to analyse it, to contextualise it, and make that powerful and use it in really interesting ways.